These two things, if you work on them, is going to help you to achieve your goals so much faster, so much quicker, so much more efficiently, and you're going to be more fulfilled and satisfied in them. What are those two things? Well, first of all, I started to think about what I wanted to talk about for today's podcast episode. And I was reflecting on a bunch of coaching clients that I had this previous week. And so I had one day where I had 5 one-on-one clients back to back. And while everybody has different positions and slightly different, scenarios and what we're working on, through each conversation, there were these two threads, these two themes that kept coming up. And really, when I reflect back on all of the one-on-one coaching that I've done, whether it's with business leaders within larger organizations or with entrepreneurs or people in small businesses, these two things are the things that I see come up. Some of the words that I hear the most that they want to work on, that they're struggling with. And then on the flip side, when we work on those things, these are the two things that I see to really help you to kind of kickstart to activate all of those goals and the things that really make the biggest difference. They're also the things that I will often hear at the end of our coaching of what really helped them. So let's dive in to what are the two things that you should be focusing on right now if you are struggling with some goals that you have. So first of all, thinking back particularly to this one day of these different coaching clients that I had. So a lot of them were all of them were in leadership type positions, manager up through director and senior level positions. And then also one of them had her own business. So really in that sort of founder position. And when I think about one of the clients was really working on, she is more in a sales type position, a market director. And so there's a lot of sales and metrics tied to it. And one of the things that she's really working on is resetting expectations and accountability with her team. Sometimes we feel like people aren't meeting expectations that we haven't clearly set, or they might not really know, or we haven't fully shared the accountability. So she started to see this huge shift in her getting more clear on what those expectations are and then setting up accountability for them. And she's already seen wins like hitting or meeting their sales numbers. She's had more productive one-on-one conversations, so less wasted time because they have a process with those. She's also found a way to free up more of her own time to focus on bigger strategic initiatives because she knows that those things are being handled. Another one of my clients was really working on her confidence, sort of this imposter syndrome as she's gotten promoted into a position. And so she's really working on how does she elevate her presence and how does she really feel confident in her role and what she has to offer. Another one of the clients that I worked with, one of the things we were doing with him is we were doing some 360 feedback where he had gotten feedback from his peers, from his direct reports, from his direct supervisor, and then also he had gotten feedback from other key stakeholders that he works with. And we were really doing a debrief of that feedback. And one of the biggest things that stood out for him is he's already at this director level position and interested in stepping into a VP position. And so based on his own goals and also the goals that we identified through this 360 feedback, one of his things was around, he doesn't always have to be so buttoned up at work and he can let his guard down a little bit and people want to get to know him and his authentic self. And then another client that I worked with that day who has her own coaching business, actually, we were really working on helping her get more clarity and alignment and set up these goals on some shifts that she wanted to do in the business. And so I share these things because as I'm talking through, not only the challenges that they're having, but we're putting action into place. Again, these two themes that I heard come up from them, I see as the biggest blocks, but also the biggest things that you can work on. So the first one is confidence. Now, confidence is such a big bucket. Confidence, everyone defines a little bit different. It looks different for you. So that's one of the things that we do right away is what does confidence look like for you? But confidence is the way that people initially explain it. Like, I want to feel more confident, fill in the blank, giving feedback. My manager told me that I need to share my ideas more confidently, or that I need to be, stronger when I'm recommending things. And so there's this layer sometimes of self-doubt, of imposter syndrome, of feeling not good enough to do the thing. Like, who do I think I am? And I see this whether I'm working with those who are trying to work on their speaking skills, or those who are trying to, get promotions in the workplace, or I'm working with teams. This word of confidence comes up. And I've heard this word forever. That is actually, I have our Confident Leader Academy, which is our group and group leadership development coaching program. And this is something I created over 6 years ago, because when I did that market research, confidence was the word that I heard a lot, and we still continue to hear it at all different levels. And so for you, one of the things that I challenge you with, if you feel like you're not confident right now in what it is you're trying to do, the first thing is you need to figure out, what does that even mean to me? How am I defining confidence? Because I would challenge you that you probably are confident in certain things. You might sometimes we like blanket statement it. So if I can get my clients to really think about, what am I confident in? Like, first we need to get clear on what is it? What does confidence look like for you? What does it mean? What does it look like in your day to day? Is it being able to, challenge people on things? Is it having tough conversations? Is it, raising your hand for new opportunities? Is it asking for the business? Is it putting yourself out there on social media? Like, what is confidence, first of all? And then we can start to identify, I'm sure there's probably things that you do already that you already are confident in, right? There's probably, certain parts of your job, certain parts of your goals that you have that you already feel pretty confident in. And so you can remind yourself that it's not just like a blanket statement, right? Like, what are those, if you can really start to pinpoint, what areas do I not feel confident? What is causing me to feel not good enough? Is it around certain people? Is it in certain situations? Then we can really start to narrow that in. So I challenge you to think about, how am I defining it? When do I feel really confident, and what's allowing me to feel that way? Is it because you feel like the expert? Is it you feel like you've had the experience in it? Is it because somebody said something to you? And then the flip side, when are you not feeling confident, and what is it about that situation, that person, that specific thing? And then when you start to narrow it down, you can get more clear on, how can I think back to other times where maybe I didn't feel confident, or what did I do in this other situation that's allowing me to show up more confident here? And usually, if I'm just being honest with you, the thing at the root of it is a story that you're telling yourself. Because most often when I challenge someone on that and I say, how true is it really that the people in the room will think that you're not qualified? They're like, well, probably not. Like, they put me there for a reason. So oftentimes it's you challenging yourself on these beliefs, on these stories that you're holding, but that other people are not holding for you. The second big thing that you can really start to identify and work on, that I see across the board with my clients, is I'm going to bucket it into this like influence and presence. And what that means is, oftentimes it comes down to, I want to have a stronger voice. I'm looking for this promotion, but the feedback that I'm getting is that I need to have more of a presence with other leaders within the organization, or I need to bring more new ideas. I need to challenge different things. I need to speak with more confidence and have, more of my own voice, so to say. And again, those two things, that confidence and having that presence and influence, are the words that I hear the most across industries, across positions. And so the same thing with that, if you are finding yourself, whether you are a small business owner, entrepreneur, you're a leader in an organization leading a big team, you're an executive, I challenge you to really think about the same thing first, is what does that look like for me to have a stronger presence? For some people, it might be, hey, in order for me to get that next level, or in order for me to get more buy-in from the people that I work with, I need to create more relationships. I need to do more networking across the organization. That's what one of my clients we are working on is, in order for him to really be considered for that VP position, some of the feedback was like, hey, people want to get to know you more. If you want to get people bought in, they need to be bought into you. And so maybe for you, you've identified like, I need to make more connections. Or if we take this, if you're listening, you're more of the small business owner side, maybe for you, it's like you need to have a stronger presence. You need to do more networking with people. You need to get your name out there more. You need to create more referral partners or connections with people to have a stronger presence. And with that then is that influence. And so defining what that means for you, is it that there's certain people, there's certain meetings, there's certain situations where you want to feel like you have a stronger voice? Is it to one-on-one? Is it to a bigger group? Again, when you can still really start to like weed out where are the areas that I feel really good about this and where are the areas that I struggle, then you can pinpoint and it doesn't feel so overwhelming, and you start to build up your confidence in it because you realize I've done this before. There are times where I feel that. And so how can I take that and bring it into this situation? And so often when I'm working with clients or teams on this idea of presence and influence, we need to get clear on what do we want to be known for? What's that personal brand or team brand? What do we want to be known for? What do we want people to think of when they hear our name? And if that's what we want, what steps is it going to take to get there? And so I'll just use this example of this other client that I've been talking about. For him, he's more innately analytical. He's more, just more reserved. He's not super loud. He's not someone who wants to go to all the networking events. And so we were talking about what's one small thing that you could do. And he actually identified that there was going to be a corporate or a company event that he had signed up to attend. He's like, that's already putting myself out of my comfort zone. And I said, okay, what's one thing you want to do differently at that event that maybe you haven't done in the past? And also with that, we identified, who do you feel like you already have strong relationships with in the organization? And, what he identified was like, I actually feel like I have really good relationships with my peers. And I actually feel like I have pretty good relationships with the stakeholders, like the people above me, because I interact with them a lot. He's like, where I actually think I want to build more relationships is with more of just directly my direct reports, but my peers' direct reports, and really start to build up a name for people he could potentially be leading when he got to that position. So he narrowed it down so much to get really clear on one action that he could take and who he was going to take that with. And that is the way that you start to build up those things. And so if you are somebody right now who is trying to achieve a goal, if you are trying to get more business, if you're trying to get, more influence in your current position, if you have career aspirations to get that next level position, I would bet that confidence and having stronger influence and presence are something that's been coming up for you. So I challenge you to take what we're working on with my clients, take these, thought prompts and really think about how can you put these in some way to help you right now, and just take one or two things away. Hopefully this reminder to work on confidence and presence and influence works for you and helps you out. And of course, if you are somebody who's looking for support with these things, check out the show notes, set up a time with me. Let's talk about how we can use coaching to help you to really accelerate those goals that you have.